Let's go drift it.
Hey, I'm the Drifting Dad, and today we're going to do a quick overview of my 1985 Mazda RX7. I bought this car about 5 years ago in 2013, and it was actually my first project car per se. I had never really worked on cars before I bought this thing, and when I bought it, it was totally stock. It was a 1980. It's a 1985 GSL model. It was automatic originally with the 12A carbureted, and I actually bought it in non-running, no title, like $1,000 or something. It's pretty cheap, so. But I remember at the time, everyone thought I was crazy for buying a car without a title. We can go ahead and start with the exterior. I've made some pretty big changes recently. I've got new 17-inch wheels and some Fender Flares. I always wanted to do Fender Flares on this car, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the thing. Because after I found the car online, and then I went and did Google search FBRX7. Obviously, you're going to come up with ones with Fender Flares on them, and I thought they looked awesome. So finally was able to get some Fender Flares for it. Thank you to Clinched for helping me out. If you want more info on them, they're the classic flare in the 9 centimeter width. So pretty aggressive. I knew I wanted a really aggressive looking car. I know that even if you weren't going to run some like crazy wide low offset wheel, that probably the 5 or 3 centimeter would look just as good. I have Turbo 2 calipers off an FC RX7 up front. They're 4 piston calipers, and so the biggest, and they're monoblock as well, much larger rotors than the stock FB rotors, so I've got a lot more stopping power now. I made some custom brackets to do those, and I can share the files with anyone that needs them. Basically, all you need is a caliper bracket that bolts to the stock upright, and then also a spacer to space the hub at the correct distance. And the reason why this works is because the FC and the FB use the same outer wheel bearing. So you just make an adapter for the inner wheel bearing, and the FC hub bolts right on. For the front suspension, I have increased the track width about 40 millimeters or 2 inches through the LCAs, and also shortened the steering knuckle to get about 55 degrees of steering angle. Here you can see my coilover conversion as well, using 8-inch springs. For the rear suspension, I've got a pretty simple setup. I've got Fox body Mustang shocks, and I have I think the KYB AGXs or gas adjust. And I also have the 8-inch tall circle track springs. They're 250 pound per inch rate. And then of course I've got these nice MST MT07 wheels. And to run these are a 4x100 or 4x114 bolt pattern. So I have an adapter from the 4x110 bolt pattern to the 4x100 bolt pattern. For the interior, it's pretty simple. I've started gutting a lot of it. When I bought the car, there was a lot of mold and just general nastiness in it. So, and it was actually I was getting weird rashes from it. So I pulled out the stock seats, junked those, pulled out the carpet, got rid of that, changed the steering wheel to I think Camaro steering wheel, maybe an adapter. I bought that thing at the swap meet for $10. For the gauges, instead of making the Mazda gauges work, which there are some write-ups you can do, but you have to change resistor for the tack and everything. I just put a universal tack on. Real simple. I've got these gauges: water temp, oil pressure, and then a fuel pump switch. That lets me have the ignition on without flooding the engine potentially, or just having fuel in the rails. The shifter hole, actually the stock shifter location works really well with the T5. The one thing I did have to do, which is probably above and beyond most swaps, is a adapter plate to turn the transmission upright. Here's where the majority of the work has occurred over the past 5 years. I've got a LT1 out of a 94 Chevy Caprice. So originally it was iron heads and iron block, and I've recently, when I did the rebuild last year, I went to a aluminum heads off a 94 Camaro and put a new cam, new springs, roller rockers, basic Chevy small block upgrades. So this car, I've done pretty much everything you see here myself, with the exception of the machine work when I had to get the engine rebuilt and the engine mounts. I actually ended up using the engine mounts from a Granny Speed Shop kit, and they work okay. I did move the mounting location. It's hard to see here, but I've got the stock mounts for the rotary engine. I actually changed the location, moving them half inch back or so I could pretty much get the engine all the way up against the firewall.